Hello there, welcome back to the plot. February the 4th, 2018. Still the middle of winter, but I know that everybody's fingers are getting itchy now, aren't they? Everybody wants to start sowing seeds and planting and starting to see a bit of life after a long, cold winter. I'm the same, I want to get some seeds in. I've done a few bits and bobs, but I can't hold it off any longer, so I'm really going to get stuck in now. Start putting a few seeds out. Even if it doesn't work out, at least I can see things growing. Bit windy, bit overcast today, but it's been a nice day. I've spent some time down here already. If anyone remembers the last of the, what were they called? Brussels sprouts. That's right, they've all been dug out now of this bed. I've started turning the bed over as well. I'm quite lucky down on this plot because I know that a lot of people have got a horrible claggy mess or heavy clay or everything like that, but my soil is really quite workable. So I've left a lot of the brassica leaves in and everything like that. I know there's always a risk with diseases and such, but I think these are alright. I've not seen the sign of anything nasty in there. That's the last of my crop now. So some of those looking a little worse for wear, but I promise you underneath they are some lovely Brussels sprouts. So I shall get those home. So yeah, that's starting to dig over there. I'm going to be digging over that one as well. A lot of this, that's the old nasturtium plants, but a lot of that can stay on the soil. I'm not happy about the amount of nasturtium seeds, but we might be treated to a bit of colour next year. So yeah, I'm going to dig most of that over, unless there's any nasty weeds in there. So we're talking dandelions, docks, any maretail roots, bindweed roots, anything like that. There shouldn't be too much, but everything else will just get turned in. Still haven't approached the leeks yet. You can see a lot of them are just a horrible squishy mess. You try and pull them and they're just oh, nasty smell as well. But there might be a few in there, but yeah, they didn't do too well at all, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those. Maybe dig a lot of them out. The big ones, the was it elephant, don't seem to be too bad, but yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. Project Shack's going to have to stay on hold yet for a week or so. Still haven't got materials together to finish it. Might just have to bite the bullet and purchase some. It's not really what I wanted to do. So that is still as it is, with the junk all sitting underneath it. I will shift that out before I put the floor down. I just have not done so far. Second greenhouse. I'm debating, I think this year I'm putting all the glass on, and I'm also going to put a base of paving stones like the last one. It increases the amount of water needed, but yeah, it also keeps the weeds down and everything else. So that should be nice. Is anybody else's greenhouse looking kind of similar to this at the minute? Remnants of last year and old pots, dirty. I've really got to give this place a clean up. So that's my next job. I'm going to clean exciting stuff. You're ready for it? The greenhouse. Doom, doom, doom. It's amazing what you think is going to be a little job turns into quite a big one, doesn't it? I left all the sunflower heads in there last year, forgot all about them for a while. Something got in there, birds, mice, whatever, so there was about 12 million little sunflower seed shells all over the floor. So I've had a right job getting rid of them. But you know, looking a little bit neater, a little bit tidier. Yes, ready to start putting some sowings in. Cleared off this back unit here. Last year's winter beans. I planted, there were some onion seeds I put in about a month ago, nothing happened. Empty trays, and then all the garlic. Garlic will be going out soon. Just probably later this month. Just let it grow on a tiny bit more. This is my shop bought garlic, which I shall get into some pots as well today. The only reason I would say that I don't put garlic directly into the ground at this time of year, just because I don't want the birds pulling them out. When they're in here, you know, I can monitor them and look after them properly. There's no chance of really losing any. And then once they've grown on a bit, I can put them out. But again, you can put those straight out into the soil outside. do be prepared to go back and rebury them every week, because as they poke the little heads up, the birds try and pull them out. So yes, that's that. Then this unit here is just empty pots, and don't look at them. No, that's organic slug pellets that I had last year. It's never really used any of them in the end. Didn't have too much of a trouble with slugs, which is not. It is good. I did have all my potatoes on there. I've cleaned them off now, so that'll be my final harvest of potatoes for the year going home, which will be lovely. Not started chitting anymore yet, I'll be honest with you. I put potatoes out last April, sort of early April, and the frost got them. So I mean, we're in February now, February, March, April, 2 months before I'm even going to think about putting them out, in sort of mid-April. Putting them out to chit, that is. Hello there. Right, shop bought garlic. This one come from Aldi. Just going to prepare it as I would any other clove, and whack it in some pots. Everything can go in the ground later on this month. The weather's still a bit sketchy at the minute. It's very early in February. I'd rather leave it until late February before I actually stick these out into the soil. Everything's just a bit cold and wet at the minute. So literally just going to peel off the outer shell, break it up into cloves. Not much more about it really. There you go. So let's give us some really even sized cloves. That bit, if you can see the spots where each clove was attached, the roots, and then that would have been the main stem up the centre of the garlic. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Shall we do all 9? Why not? We'll give it the best chance for this little experiment to work. It's going to be starting them out in this. It's about a 2.5-inch little pot. I'm just using a general purpose compost. So for this I'm just using a general purpose multi-purpose compost. I'm going to stick them in one of these 2.5-inch pots. So we'll get that in there. You don't want to be pressing your soil down too hard, you want to leave it nice and loose so that the roots can actually move in there. The garlic itself, that's the individual cloves. You've all seen these. You've got the bottom end, that's where your roots will come out. You've got your top end, that's where the shoot will come out, and roughly you want to be burying it about as deep as the clove. So just put a little hole in there, just pinch that. There we go. You just see his little head poking out the top there, and he is all ready to go. One thing that you want to try and avoid doing with garlic, this is in true, whether you're doing it in pots or straight in the ground, don't just get your clove and wedge it into the soil, because that could damage. You've got the roots come out of here, so any damage to that part can affect your clove. So always make a little hole, pop your clove in there, try and avoid any sort of trauma to it, and you give yourself the best chance possible of getting some nice garlic. So I'm just going to repeat that. Never such a simple process. So this is shop bought, so it's not native to the UK, but we shall see how it gets on. Where's the last one? Here it is, little one. And there we have it. I've got an habit of using these little baking trays here. They're only a couple of quid, and I just like to stow my pots in them. So in the greenhouse you're not going to get any dripping out of the bottom of your pots. And they're not a bad size for getting you pots onto, he says. Oh, we can go through deep there. There we go. Label it up. Don't forget to label them up. What shall we call this one? Let's call it Shop Bought Garlic. Aldi. Shop Garlic. And then the date as well. 04 of the 2nd, 2018. A drop of water to get them started. I don't give all my plants mineral water. There we go. What you might find as they're growing is as they push the root down, the clove will eject itself from the soil, but you can just give them a little poke back in, keep an eye on them. Shouldn't have to water them too much really at this time of year. There's not going to be any intense heat in here. Just keep an eye on them, make sure they don't dry out. Right, I'll have a little word with you all about seed sowing. Now, I know that all of you animals out there, you know, you've seen it, you've been to the supermarkets, you've been to the garden centres, and the seeds are out, the seed potatoes are out, the little seed onions are out, there's grow kits, there's cherry tomatoes in a tin, there's beautiful things coming out on the market that everybody wants to buy and plant straight away. It is a little bit too early still for the majority of those things. I've been through my seed tin, I've got probably 100 packets of seeds, and I've been and pulled out everything that says it can be grown in February. Now, this is just what I've found in my seed tin. Oh, no, there's another one. Now, if you have a look, there's everything here. There's everything from flowers to tomatoes, chilies, Brussels sprouts, and all of these suggest can be sown February. So you just have, I mean, this is just like a ridiculous amount of seeds. Can you see all of these? Now that's too much. Last year, I'll tell you what, last year I pretty much went out and I planted everything, and that was a huge mistake. For me, you've got a hardy plant. A hardy plant will be able to be sown at this time of year. It'll be able to cope with our environment. It's from this country. You know, I'm talking onions, I'm talking leeks, you know what I mean, I'm talking some brassicas, like you can get some early sprouts. Well, if I lost my sprouts, I've no control over them. The artichokes did really well as well. You know, certain things will do quite well. But it's only February, it's still really dark, the amount of sunshine that we're getting is not a lot, the sun's sitting quite low in the sky, it's not giving off a lot of heat, which means your peppers, you know, anything that's not from this country, your peppers, your tomatoes, all of these guys, your aubergines, you know, all of these are not going to be able to cope in this greenhouse, in this weather, with these light conditions. The reason that they say you can now sow them is because they have they're Mediterranean, hot country plants. You know, they are used to a lot of sun, a lot of heat for a long summer, a long growing period. So that means if we've got any chance of growing them in this country, we have to get them in quite early. But they need light, they need heat, they need looking after in a way that a lot of these other things won't. If I put tomatoes in now, in this greenhouse, they probably won't germinate. If I go and put tomatoes now on my windowsill at home, they're going to germinate. They're not going to have any light. They're going to go long and leggy and thin and limp. So I'm just not, unless you've got a grow light, unless you're lucky to live in a place that has lots and lots of sunshine, it's just too early. I tried doing it last year. I got trays and trays of limp, leggy tomatoes. You try replanting them deep, which you can do to get over the legginess, you've still got a weak plant. That's not a good start for any vegetables. Going off on one a bit, aren't I? So, all of these, even potatoes. Potatoes are not native to this country. Potatoes will die in a frost. I put potatoes out, what, April last year, did I? As soon as they showed up the little heads, earthed them up, frost, meh, wiped them all out. So I'm not putting any potatoes in the ground till May, never mind if Wilco's have got them on the shelves or not. Yo. Right, what I do want to avoid when I'm planting all of these seeds is the absolute disaster that I've had earlier on in the season, because I got really carried away. It got to end of January, something like that, and I just thought, right, I want to get seeds into the dirt, I want to get on with it. However, it didn't go well. It really didn't go well. So I've got a lot of disasters sitting here on my window ledge, mainly 100% down to a lack of sunlight. There's just not enough sunlight, even though it's a north-facing window. There was just not enough here to keep them all happy. So, dear, what we have got, nasturtiums, which are probably some of the leggiest, unhealthy plants that you'll ever see. If you have a look at these, look at them. They're an absolute joke, a bit of a mess. So there's only one resolution to that, unfortunately. There's also sweet peas in there. These sweet peas are not well. If you have a look at these pathetic, spindly little examples, I'm not even going to waste my time trying to plant those out and rescue them. This, it's just a tangled mess of not healthy at all plants. One small success, I suppose, marigolds. While small, fairly weak and searching desperately for the light, I think we can rescue those. They're actually just thrown out their first set of true leaves there. So I'll have those out. How many did we get germinated? We got all but one, so 12, 16, 15 plants there, which is beautiful. So sweet peas, which they germinated, but look at the state of them. I'm not doing it with these. Look at that. That's not a big leaf. Look, there's my thumbnail, and there's the leaves. That's not a healthy plant. another disaster. Obviously, cauliflowers. These never got past. These just went for it, just all stem, absolutely no strength in them whatsoever. They've tried to throw out the first true leaves, but nothing. Elsa Craig onions again. These might be alright, I don't know. They look a bit spindly and weak to me. They look like they're really struggling. I will repot them though, get them out in the sunshine, see if I can pull those around, because it would be a shame otherwise. What we have got here, we've got some cayenne pepper. These don't look terrible at the minute. These are at a point that they can be rescued, I feel, because these have only recently germinated. They are getting a bit leggy. They are searching for the light. Black Beauty, which is, I'd call it an aubergine, but you might call it something else. You know what I'm saying? Eggplant, that's the one. Another type of leek here, the elephant. They're looking alright. And also I put 3 of the aqua dulce broad beans in. But in the lack of light, they all germinated. However, I'm just going to take you on a little journey here. So there's my hand. So there's the first leaf. Keep going. There's another one. Because these guys have really struggled. We're not halfway there yet, don't worry. Go on, keep going. And there it is. I mean, that is an absolutely, I've seen adult fruit-bearing plants that are not that big. So this thing, look, it's not even supporting its own weight. It's a complete disaster. That one is destined for the compost heap, I'm afraid. It's my own fault. Put them out too soon. The other 2 as well, same situation. They're just leggy beyond belief. Not very happy at all. Dear, red onions are dead. There's just, either I didn't transplant them, I put them in too early, one thing or another. They're just not doing very well at all. Never mind. Cucumbers have gone in as well. That's these little buggers on the end here. Sorry, little plants on the end. Not looking too bad, very leggy, but a bit of a transplant should be able to help them out. California Reaper, super hot peppers, chilies, peppers, yeah, have germinated, but again, need to sort them out really quickly. The only tomatoes that I've put in so far is the Moneymakers, again, quite leggy. They have thrown out now the first set of leaves, so they desperately need to be transplanted. I read something earlier on that they need to be transplanted within a couple of days of germinating, but I've not done that. These little fellows here are my strawberries that I've had a quite a sporadic germination on, but you can see they're actually coming up alright. The Golden Globe artichokes are, again, desperate need of transplant in. And then at the end here, looking very yellow inside for themselves, wondering what woke them up so early in the time of the year, is melons, which is the Melba. Again, looking very, very pale, not too sure about those. So that is why, classic example, don't get too carried away, don't bite off more than you can chew, don't do anything with plants that you can't look after, because they'll end up dead, which majority of these are, I'm afraid, destined for the compost. Never mind, live and you learn.